The de-dollarization momentum is growing, and the BRICS currency has a real prospect of becoming the next global currency. What do you think about that? In this video, I'm going to talk about what economist Alex Habiyaremye of the University of Johannesburg has shared around his theory of how the BRICS currency has the potential of becoming the next global currency. My name is Ashley. On my channel, Ashley in Africa, I talk about my experience of living and doing business here on the continent of Africa. I also live currently in South Africa, Johannesburg to be exact, and I work here with 6- and 7-figure entrepreneurs that are looking for trusted advisory, trusted support, and trusted help to ensure that their global decision on investing here on the continent of Africa and all over really in several countries comes with a trusted advisor, insight and information, someone on the ground that has an opportunity to build and grow their global portfolio. So if you have an interest in learning more, please subscribe to our email list to get updates like these and more before I share them here on YouTube. So in this video, I want to talk about what economic analyst and economist Alex Habiyaremye of the University of Johannesburg has shared. And he basically says that with this proposed currency, that the economic conglomerate of BRICS, which is Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, plus friends, right, is proposing. And if it's used systematically and effectively for all trade transactions between the BRICS nations, it really could alleviate the burden that these countries are seeing when having to use the US dollar to basically trade its commodities. And I think what people don't understand is currently, regardless of your products, that if it needs to be traded, it needs to be traded in US dollars. And so countries are having to basically sell and trade with America in order to receive US dollars to then be able to trade their own products, not using their own currency. And the issue with this is, while these foreign countries actually have to take action and make trade transactions, put in effort, put in time, the US can simply just print its own money. They don't have to do that with these other these other countries. And these countries are forced to basically pay off the debt that America continues to build. And so with these increasing interest rates, it's simply just not fair, right? It's just not fair. And developing nations, developing countries are looking for a way out. And the BRICS global currency, the prospect of this has some really, really big opportunity as other countries are looking to join at a rapid pace, right? The friends of BRICS are looking to join. These include the UAE, the United Arab Emirates, Egypt. These are really big countries. The Democratic Republic of Congo that have immense amount of resources that have been essentially just not seeing the type of return that they are looking to get in trading with the US. So this privilege ensures that other countries end up financing the US deficit, as I mentioned, because the US Federal Reserve can simply print the money, while these other countries have to produce goods and services to have access to the dollar. So this is an increasing trend among countries to reduce their reliance on the US dollar and instead prioritize foreign trade between other countries using their own national currency. So this is already happening. I'm going to talk about the president of Kenya and his basically announcement of a bank that is already doing this, a system that is already doing this. So check out that next video. I'll link it below. One notable initiative in this regard is being already undertaken by, the BRICS countries, right? So the conversation has happened. I want to say that they're already in motion, right? We don't ever hear about anything until it actually happens. But once the BRICS conglomerates establish this global currency, a lot of countries are not going to continue to trade with the US. Of course, the US will do what the US does and fight its way, to not being minimized in trade agreements, right? But essentially, with the BRICS conglomerate being such a huge part of the global GDP, the world population, and basically just like the Earth's mass, this fight is not something that I could see being one that would be won, right? But they're not going out without a fight. So the challenges essentially are going to pose that these BRICS countries trade amongst each other, because although BRICS is, gaining tons of momentum, they're still doing a lot of trade with the US. And they're going to have to pull back on their trade between the US and accelerate their trade with other BRICS nations and other foreign nations that have this interest in doing business with the BRICS conglomerate known as the Friends of BRICS. So, the economist Habiyaremye, he basically said the same thing. It's not enough to want to wean oneself from the dollar if the trade flows between BRICS members and their immediate allies are not enough to support this new currency. So this kind of process of due diligence around the Friends of BRICS and how BRICS is actually going to do this, they're going to have trade agreements, right? They're going to have a minimum amount of trade has to be done this year, this month, this quarter, to make sure that this sustains itself, right? Because the worst thing you could do is create this system and then it not work out. But the momentum is strong and the data is there. And the US is doing a good job at kind of, making it happen. And, I reported that this is already happening in several countries where they've decided to trade amongst themselves. Tanzania with Uganda trading amongst their own currencies. Tanzania with India trading amongst their own currencies. And as I mentioned, the president of Kenya has really announced this initiative that is already happening, which is really exciting. And I'll share that in the next video. So, the strength of the new BRICS currency would depend on these countries trading more with each other. So tell me what you think about that. How are these countries going to be able to trade more with each other? What do you think? And if you want to get updates like this before I share them on YouTube, be sure to join my email list via the link below. Until the next video, I'll see you soon.